right, should be up and running here. Coming on a little bit later than usual. I had a power outage actually that just now cleared, so hopefully doesn't rear its ugly head again and we can get through this video. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, this is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for March 29th, 2022. Q's up 1.7, SPY up 1.24, and IWM, which stayed pretty strong all day. Nice breakout going on here on the daily, though the Q's and SPY are up a bunch already. And we'll likely pull back if the Q's and SPY do, but so far, staying very, very strong. Now, we are a bit extended on the hourly here. I've been saying for the last couple days, ever since we kind of had this breakout and then wasn't getting any follow through. That's a hard time to start new longs, and it hasn't gotten any easier. Still extended here on the hourly, daily multiple days up, right, on this rally back up into resistance. Haven't turned bearish at any point. There hasn't been any reason to. We've stayed bullish on this, more just anticipating a meaningful pullback that we just really have yet to see. So going into tomorrow, same market bias as we had today. Bullish, okay, but we are up a bunch of days into resistance here. Impressive rally by the market, held very well, okay? All right, let's get into plays from today. The SXTC first play for me on this one, on this breakout here, as we were breaking the opening range there, gapping up over a base into some void on the daily. So I like that quite a bit. And this, I really wanted to stick with it as long as I could. Played it, like I said, opening range breakout was about a 4-cent stop. Okay, so got some decent follow through on the run up on this, and did hold a runner. I ended up holding a third that actually trailed break even, so it came all the way back in. So, on something like this, I'm really trying to stick with end of day. It really did close the gap though, but just want to see, how far it can go. And ended up trailing some there at the end, or kind of as the uptrend was ending, and a good trail, I guess, because it actually would have come all the way back in. Of course, could have taken more at the top, but you never really know that is that for sure the top. So yeah, that was fine. I think not a bad way to start. Was up a lot nicer before, coming in and that runner piece trailing, but I'm fine with that. Nice call from Sammy on the grab. We had two plays here that basically we just closed till the end of the day because they just stayed in uptrends. What was nice about these, the grab as well as the DNA, which I'll go over next, is that actually the market came in first at the open. Market was trying to do a downtrend, and these were holding up towards the top. And so then as the market got going, right, then these stayed strong or even continued. So the grab, that was a breakout right here off the top. I know they took, some was trailed up here, and then back was held till end of day. And then the next play was the DNA, which was a breakout over this space here. And then we also held till end of day. I'm looking at it in the after hours. I kind of thought it might pop a little bit in the after hours. Maybe not as extreme as the HYMC yesterday. Yesterday we played the HYMC. Look at that. This is what we did yesterday, and then look at where it gapped up this morning. I don't think the DNA is going to do that, but here's the daily on it, and that's kind of the reason. I think it is into some resistance there a little bit, but I do like the fact that it's transitioning here, and I like that relative strength. And I thought the pattern was just really good. I had a couple different breakouts. One was the one that we played here as it was taking out the highs. And then the other one was this one, which didn't really follow through, but it didn't fail either. Okay. So that was the DNA. And, it wasn't an easy trade. I think we did have to sit in this for a while and never got to a big target. And it really even tested us a little bit because on that initial break here, it put in that break and then an inside bar. Okay. Now I did this on the mic. It was just, this was a call in the box as well, but just kind of did it live. And there was the option to do this. Now, we've talked about in the past multiple times about the breakout, no follow through, which often turns into a breakout failure. Okay, let me see if I have, is this the RADA? Okay, so something like this, okay, so on the daily here. They break out, and then they put an inside bar. And then a lot of times if they take out that inside bar and you played this breakout, you want to get out, okay? So you want to get out under that inside bar, or you could give the whole thing back, and then even more if it breaks the bottom of the base. Okay? But when I get this pattern, what I want to see in order for me to really have to react to this is that I want the bar that triggered the breakout to be a really big bar. And then I also want the volume to be basically the top of the range or the biggest bar. Okay? On the grab here, I didn't think that the breakout bar was very extreme. Okay? Sorry, not on the grab. On the DNA, I didn't think the breakout bar... Look at this. So this was the breakout bar. Okay, right here. The volume wasn't that big. The bar is big, but it's not off the charts really, by far the biggest bar, right? If we compare it to the RADA, what it did yesterday, right? This is by far, maybe even twice the average bar, right? This I didn't think was as extreme, and then the volume wasn't there. So that was a decision I made. Now, could I have eventually, say this had failed, and I look back, well, there was our opportunity trail? Yeah, and that happens sometimes too. So they don't always, have to give you a clear indication that I'm not going to go higher again. But because I didn't think that this was extreme enough to react to, so we decided, kind of stick with it. And if I had actually, now looking at it, it probably would have been the worst place to exit if I had gotten out. Yeah, that would have been the lowest point where we could have possibly exited this trade. So, of course, like I said, I could have looked back and been like, well, that should have been our exit. That was our indication it was going to fail. And sometimes that's happened. But I just thought that was the best decision at that time, that wasn't that extreme. You could always, drill down till you'll see a pattern that might make you fearful or make you want to do something that you want to do. I know in this instance, it's just this bar was not that big. The volume didn't become extreme. So, it really was just like, okay, then we're just going to stick through with it and deal with this pullback. Okay, so that was that. We did close it just here at the end of the day. Wasn't a big play, but I think we did as well as we could have. And I think that goes for the grab and the DNA. Now, actually, and the goal on all three of these was the same. I want to be in them until end of day if they stay in an uptrend. Now, SXTC clearly lost the uptrend, and we did take some on the way up. Grab was also trailed. DNA wasn't trailed. It was just in the whole thing until end of day. But, if this DNA, because our targets were $4.70 and $5, if they got there, then yeah, of course, I'm going to take some targets. But if it's not a target, then I'm not going to do too much with it. Okay. So I think some nice plays, SXTC was the biggest for me just because of that first run up was really nice, but then of course gave some back on the runner. But I think overall solid management and solid plays. Okay, so hopefully you did all right today. At least stayed out of trouble. But I think some okay plays today. All right, and going into tomorrow, not too much change as far as the market. Still bullish bias. Still would prefer if we got a pullback first before initiating new longs. But may not do that because so far, yeah, the bullishness, the grind higher has been maintained. All right, that's going to do it for today's market wrap. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.